Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning, 5 o'clock. It's Tuesday, February 10th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. A mix of sun and clouds today, high 35. Tonight and overnight, we could see some passing showers, low 33. And then Wednesday, sunshine, the warmest it's been in a while, high 41. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 17 and cloudy in Suffern up in Rockland County. It's 18 and cloudy in Patterson over in New Jersey. And it's 20 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
The search for Savannah's mom seems to have gone nowhere. New Jersey Transit riders want refunds for trains that don't roll. Some of the striking nurses could be back at work soon. A Long Island college student really did not use AI to write a paper. And have you heard of snow vandalism? Well, it's on the rise. All right, let's get into it at 5:01. Will New Jersey Transit riders get to work today? Will they get back home on time? New Jersey Transit rail service resumed on major lines last night for the commute home after earlier disruptions caused by Amtrak overhead wire issues near Newark. So there were issues coming into work. People were, in some cases, hours late getting to work. And then when they returned to Penn Station on the way home, there were issues again. And you can imagine riders are saying, what the heck's going on?
Trains don't run. When it's cold, the train's hot. When it's hot, the trains don't run. When it's cold, the trains don't run. When it rains, the trains don't run. And when it snows, the trains don't run. That's NJ Transit for you.
That's somebody very happy with New Jersey Transit. New Jersey Transit says Amtrak overhead wires came down on a New Jersey Transit train about 7 a.m. yesterday, just east of Newark's Penn Station. Then a second train also lost power. That was in North Elizabeth when part of the overhead structure fell. So that's what caused the delays in the morning. And then they said they had it all fixed by the afternoon, but then last night, sure enough, again, trains were delayed.
I got to Princeton Junction Station at like 7:30, and I didn't get to my seat in the office until 11.
The last 2 weeks going to work, I haven't been on time once.
Tomorrow, I'm not going to come in. I'm going to come in either on Thursday when this is all, fixed.
Yeah, who can blame them? Governor Mikey Sherrill, the new governor of New Jersey, says the situation unacceptable. The head of New Jersey Transit, Chris Calori, apologizing to riders in a social media post yesterday. This was yesterday afternoon. He wrote, "We know you depend on us, and experiences like this fall short of the services you deserve. Please know that our teams are focused on learning from this morning's events." So what do riders think of that apology?
I'll be taking my business to the Academy bus.
I've taken transit in Japan, Germany, all these different places. They give a refund to all the customers.
No repercussions, no taking action, just an apology letter, and that's about it.
Yeah, so Amtrak owns the Northeast Corridor and wire system that New Jersey Transit pays millions to use, so they're blaming it on that. Customers, they don't care who the blame falls on. They just want to make sure the trains are rolling. When I looked this morning, a short time ago, it seemed like everything is A-OK, but I may have just jinxed it by saying that. 5:03, while we're talking about the trains, federal funds still have not been released for the massive Gateway Rail Tunnel project. That's the tunnel that goes under the Hudson, connects New Jersey to New York City. There's one that's there now. It's more than 100 years old. They desperately need a new one. The money was put in to have it done until the White House pulled it back. And that is angering a lot of union leaders here in the city who had to lay off workers on Friday because there's no money to pay them.
Fully funding this project puts union laborers on the job, lets us build the future the right way.
A judge on Friday ordered the Trump administration to continue funding the $16 billion project that builds this rail tunnel. However, the Trump administration lawyers appealed that decision, arguing releasing the funds would cause harm to the government.
You may have stopped laborers from coming through that gate at 1801 Tunnelly Avenue today. But this project is going to be finished with or without you.
Those were union workers on the New Jersey side of the Hudson yesterday. Governor Mikey Sherrill taking part in this protest. Senator Chuck Schumer as well, saying that this money needs to be released as soon as possible so this tunnel can get built.
What you're doing is making sure that moms and dads can get home from work in time to pick their kids up at daycare. So you're not just working for your families. You're working for all of our families. That's what you do. That's why you're so important.
Yeah, this is one of these things that's sort of complicated and tied up in court. So a federal judge giving the Trump administration now until Thursday to resume payments for the Gateway Tunnel project. Their lawyers for the White House fighting back against this. How this ends, I guess we'll find out come Thursday. 5:05. Today's show host Savannah Guthrie and her family believes her mother is still alive. In a new video yesterday, Guthrie pleaded with the public for any help in locating her 84-year-old mother, Nancy, who's been missing for 9 days now.
Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help.
Savannah Guthrie says her family is at an hour of desperation, saying anything that seems strange in your neighborhood, it could be hundreds of miles away from Tucson where she went missing. It's worth reporting. So there are these reported ransom notes that were sent to news outlets demanding $6 million in Bitcoin with a deadline for yesterday afternoon. That deadline came and went with no sign that it was paid by the Guthrie family.
I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement.
Now, day one, when she went missing, the family talked about the medication that she needs to take daily to stay alive. Now, it's been 9 days, supposedly, that she hasn't had that medication, unless for some reason, if someone took her, they had that medication, which doesn't seem like that would be the case. Here's more from Guthrie yesterday.
We are at an hour of desperation. And we need your help.
Yeah, I mean, you just feel awful for the family. Nancy Guthrie, this one new piece of information, there's not a lot new in this case, but she was supposed to go to a friend's house where she and her friends would tune into a church service online. You know, we had initially told that she was going to head to a church, a physical church, to watch services, but apparently on Sunday she would go with friends to watch one online. And that's the reason, according to some reports this morning, that they thought they knew something was up when she didn't show up because she never missed being with these friends to watch this online service. Of course, as more details come in this case, we will pass them on to you. WABC News Time 509. One person killed, a child in critical condition after flames ripped through a home in Queens last night. The flames started first floor of this home on Doggin Avenue in Elmhurst. This was about 7 o'clock last night. Quickly rose to the top of the home and then spread to neighboring buildings on both sides. There was a lot of eyewitnesses.
The wires caught on fire. It was sparking. And then we saw water coming down soon from the hoses.
Firefighters described this as a pretty chaotic scene when they rolled up on this house. One resident suffered life-threatening injuries. 5 others suffered minor injuries. 2 firefighters were also hurt. One of them fell through the floor of the first level of the home and then got stuck, but thank God was helped to safety.
My mother, they called me. I was at work. Then they told me there was a fire next to our house. And I just came in and they said the fire started blowing. My apartment is filled with smoke, So they tell us they're gonna just tear down everything. I think they're gonna look into my apartment. So I didn't have no.
Yeah, so over 200 fire and EMS personnel responded to the scene last night. Cause, what started it all, we just don't know. 510, the number of suspected cold weather-related deaths here in the city up to 18 now during this extreme cold stretch, though yesterday felt like downright warm, hitting 30 degrees, but it's still below freezing. And then overnight, we're still having these incredibly cold temperatures in the teens, so it's still dangerous. Mayor Mamdani says the latest person was found dead outside a building in the Bronx on Saturday morning.
This weekend, we saw the winter's coldest and most dangerous temperatures thus far. It was colder in our city than in parts of Antarctica.
Hypothermia confirmed to be the cause of 5 deaths and suspected in a number of others. The mayor continuing to urge New Yorkers to take precaution, look out for neighbors when the temps are expected to remain cold, which is most of this week. I mean, it'll be warmer than it has been last week, but we still are not really out of the freezing numbers except 1 or 2 days.
We have been working hard to keep New Yorkers safe, and we will continue to do so.
Yeah, tomorrow it'll be 41, but then it goes back into the 30s. Meanwhile, the city's still trying to work and remove all that snow. Some of it are melting mounds, but for most of us, it's not melting fast enough because it's taking up parking spots, bike lanes, and roadways. Sanitation department still trying to move out a lot of that snow. 5:11, let's go out to California. The California-based parent company of Facebook is on trial in 2 separate states. Now, one of them is New Mexico, where Meta is accused of being unsafe for kids.
Youth safety was less important than growth and engagement.
That's prosecutor Dan Migliori. In Los Angeles, Meta is accused of being addictive and harmful to children. In that case, a 19-year-old plaintiff claims that she became addicted to the technology and that she says it led to depression and suicidal thoughts. In New Mexico, the prosecutor there told the jury yesterday that Meta executives put a priority on profits instead of kids' safety.
Safety measures were under-resourced, ineffective, and deprioritized. Meta clearly knew that youth safety is not its corporate priority.
Now, Facebook, of course, pushing back against all that today, day 2 of that trial in New Mexico. 5:12, down in Washington, Congress faces another deadline come Friday to avoid a partial government shutdown, with Democrats giving demands to rein in ICE. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer referring to ICE as goons. Here's Florida Republican Senator Ashley Moody, who takes big issue with that.
When I hear Schumer refer to this as anti-American, it makes me laugh. Most of those people on that side of the aisle don't even think about what it means to be a steward of American governance these days.
And she says Senator Schumer has no problem spreading what she calls false narratives in order to promote chaos and undermine the enforcement of ICE.
This really isn't about the demands. This is about making sure people know that the Democrats are trying to defund DHS.
And, of course, that's the big issue here. There is no DHS funding, Department of Homeland Security, passed this Friday. And Democrats in Congress, she says, don't care.
This is not about making sure that they get demands met. They want to shut down funding for DHS as a political narrative and as a political statement.
So we're going to face another partial government shutdown come Friday, which is, by the way, Friday the 13th. We'll have to wait and see. 5:14, members of Congress now able to see unredacted copies of the more than 3 million Epstein files. Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin, one of the people who was over at the Justice Department yesterday looking at some of these redactions, and he said he was baffled by why some of them were redacted.
You know, I saw the names of lots of people who were redacted for mysterious or baffling or inscrutable reasons.
Lawmakers will have to view the files linked to the late sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein at the Justice Department during business hours. Justice Department still not letting Congress see approximately 2.5 million more pages that so far have been completely withheld.
Epstein's lawyers synopsized and quoted Trump as saying that that Jeffrey Epstein was not a member of his club at Mar-a-Lago, but he was a guest at Mar-a-Lago, and he had never been asked to leave. I went over there and I was able to determine, at least I believe, that there were tons of completely unnecessary redactions in addition to the failure to redact the names of victims.
And then at the same time that was going on, Ghislaine Maxwell, she, of course, worked with Jeffrey Epstein, the former girlfriend, a longtime associate of the convicted sex offender. She was down in Washington taking the fifth during her deposition before the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee.
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions.
All right, so it was interesting to hear her voice, which we have not heard very often. The deposition took place virtually. Maxwell is serving a 20-year federal sentence for her role in recruiting and trafficking victims for Epstein, so it came from behind bars.
My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
And Maxwell's attorney yesterday says she's prepared to speak fully and honestly if she's granted clemency by the White House. And you had James Comer, he's the head of the Oversight Committee, talking about the fact that she did invoke her right against self-incrimination, and he said that was all very disappointing.
Unfortunately, she had an opportunity today to answer questions that every American has, questions that would be very important in this investigation, and she chose to invoke her Fifth Amendment rights. We sincerely want to get to the truth to the American people and justice for the survivors. That's what this investigation is about.
It would be awfully interesting to hear from her, but it doesn't like it's going to happen anytime soon. All right, 5:16. Let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ella.
Good morning to you, Noam Layden. Start here out in the NBA on hardwood in Brooklyn. Nick Claxton scored 28 points, 10 rebounds to lead the Nets to 123-113 win over the Chicago Bulls. Clowney added 20 points for Brooklyn, which won its second in a row. Drake Powell had 14 off the bench. Rookies Danny Wolf and Nolan Traore each had 13. Zaire Williams added 11. The Nets were without leading scorer Michael Porter Jr., right knee tendonitis, and rookie guard Eeyore Demon. He was just resting. Up next for Brooklyn, they'll host the Indiana Pacers tomorrow night. Speaking of those Pacers, they're at the Garden tonight against the Knicks. That is a 7:30 p.m. tip-off. We'll check in on the Olympics here, what to look forward to today. The U.S. women's hockey team, they're rolling here, 3-0 in group play so far. They get Canada today, both Canada and the U.S. in that Group A on the women's side of things. USA currently leading 9 points in that group. Canada in second place with 6 points. They've just played one less game, so you get that big-time matchup today. 2:10 p.m. puck drop there later on this afternoon. So far, your country medal results. Italy is in the lead with 1 gold and 9 total medals. Japan, 2 gold, 7 total medals. Norway, 3 gold, 6 total medals. Switzerland, 3 gold, 5 total medals. Germany, 2 gold, 4 total medals. Austria, 1 gold, 4 total medals. And then the United States coming in right now at 7th place with 2 gold medals and 2 total medals. We like that, though, Noam Layden. 100% of our medals being gold, don't we?
Yeah, that's good.
How about it? And early on now, we got a lot of time to catch up here. That is your sports.
Do we care, though, in the end?
No.
Yeah, okay.
I just have nothing else to talk about.
I like your honesty.
Yeah, exactly. Right back to you.
WABC News Time 5:20. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expected to meet with President Trump tomorrow at the White House to discuss recent U.S. talks with Iran that focus on that country's nuclear program.
Israel's Security Cabinet has approved the expansion of Israeli control over areas of the West Bank that are under the jurisdiction of the Palestinian Authority. Shortly after the measures were approved, Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich said, "We will continue to kill the idea of a Palestinian state." The Palestinian Authority condemned the move and called for UN and U.S. intervention. President Trump has opposed formal Israeli annexation of the West Bank, but a major settlement organization celebrated the new measures as de facto annexation. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
5:21, Dan Bongino returning to Fox News last night following his stint as Deputy Director of the FBI. Bongino making his first appearance to discuss the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
First would be, obviously, it's a kidnapping. That was an intended kidnapping for a ransom payment. That would be the first possibility.
You'll remember he was appointed by President Trump as FBI Director Kash Patel's right-hand man at the Bureau before he decided to leave back in December.
The second possibility would be this was just a crime that went awry. Someone was at the house. Maybe it was a burglary. Something went bad. And that you've got some bad actors committing another crime unrelated.
Yeah, that seems to make the most sense, doesn't it? Here's more from Bongino on the Guthrie case.
The third possibility, again, this is and this is where I think you have to kind of think outside of the box, is especially given some of the messaging that we've seen lately, is the possibility that there may have been some kind of maybe a medical emergency or something.
Yeah, well, it still remains a mystery today. 5:22, go ahead, have a drink. Just be ready to pay the tax man.
New
York State has increasingly made alcohol more available, including legal to-go cocktails and expanded direct-to-consumer sales. Now, state lawmakers are looking at new ways to tax booze. State Senator Natalia Fernandez of the Bronx proposing a 5% tax on retail alcohol sales. Revenue generated from that tax, as well as from an existing tax on opioids, would be earmarked to pay for addiction treatment. There's also a proposal up in Albany that would allow alcohol to be sold in grocery stores, only beer sales currently allowed. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
How about some health news? 4 people have now died. 3 need liver transplants after eating toxic death cap mushrooms spreading in California. We've been following this story for months now. Almost 40 children and adults have fallen ill from eating these mushrooms.
Just to put that into context, in a typical year, CPCS may receive reports of anywhere between 0 and about 5 cases.
That's crazy. Dr. Craig Smolin, you're there with the California Poison Control System. The number of cases is now just since November. Health officials urging people not to pick these wild mushroom. Death caps resemble edible varieties, but are extremely poisonous. So they're saying just don't eat any of these mushrooms you find out in the wild. Down in Texas, there's a new step in the fight to stop a flesh-eating insect that's moving north through Mexico. The ribbon cut yesterday on a facility in South Texas that will airdrop sterilized flies, preventing the spread of this thing called the New World screwworm fly.
This facility will be a critical part of our overall efforts to combat the New World screwworm.
That's the Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins says this facility, which is based at the Moore Air Force Base in Texas, will be operational this year. The screwworm fly has not officially crossed the border yet. The closest spotting is about 200 miles south of Texas, but that's, close enough.
To continue to work to stop the threat before it reaches our border.
Yeah, 524, new research suggests daily consumption of caffeinated coffee and tea could lower your dementia risk.
The American Medical Association found 2 to 3 cups of caffeinated coffee or 1 to 2 cups of tea was associated with lowering dementia risk, slowing cognitive decline, and preserving cognitive function. Researchers also determined that about 300 milligrams of caffeine is the optimal daily amount. While the study's authors did say the results are really reassuring, they also noted that they are not recommending for people who don't drink coffee to start drinking it. I'm Monica Nelson.
It is Health Heart Month, February, because of Valentine's Day. And Dr. Grant Reed, he is with the Cleveland Clinic, and he says it's important to check to see if you have family history when it comes to your heart, like things like heart attacks.
Family history is one of the most important risk factors for cardiac events. So heart attack and stroke in specific. So knowing your first-degree relatives, such as your parents, your brothers or sisters, siblings.
Most of this is pretty obvious. It's like a healthy diet, don't smoke, don't drink a lot of alcohol, stay active.
Move your body regularly, to exercise, to have a heart-healthy diet, and to avoid smoke and alcohol. If you can do those 3 things, you're definitely heading in the right direction.
Of course, none of us do a whole lot of that. Health experts recommend getting about 150 minutes of moderate exercise each week. They say that's good for the heart. A San Diego biotech startup says it's found a new way to trick cancer cells into destroying themselves with its molecular glue.
Neomorph announced it's begun its first clinical trial involving a kidney cancer patient. The molecular glue Neo-811 is being used to treat a common form of kidney cancer. The company says Neomorph's glue redirects the body to dispose of harmful proteins by labeling them as trash, so enzymes will throw them away. I'm Lisa Carton.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Olympic skier Lindsey Vonn talking about that run. She crashed during the Winter Olympics over the weekend. She was skiing on a torn ACL.
Vonn took to Instagram to say she would need multiple operations to fix her broken leg, but that she was too tight on her line when her arm hooked inside a gate, and that was the reason for the crash. She went on to say that the torn ACL, which happened a little over a week ago, had no impact on the accident. She was attempting to become, at age 41, the oldest alpine skier, man or woman, to win an Olympic medal. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Promoting free speech 24/7. This is Talk Radio 77 WABC. It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me, 537. Good morning. It is Tuesday, February 10th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds today, the high 35. Tonight and overnight, we could see some passing showers, low 33. And then Wednesday, mostly sunny. Ready for this? The high 41. Wow. If you are walking out the door with us right now, it is 17 and cloudy in Suffern, up in Rockland County. It is 18 and cloudy in Patterson over New Jersey. And it's 20 and cloudy right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 539. As you heard from Joe, sounds like New Jersey Transit so far, except for that one sort of weird thing you got to do on one train, is moving normally this morning. Yesterday, long, frustrating day again for thousands of New Jersey Transit commuters. Overhead wire issues caused a disabled train, then disrupted travel, caused delays, cancellations for the entire day. So the thought was on the way in, people were late, but they thought on the way back, everything will be fixed. But there was this domino effect that lasted most of the day, frustrating riders.
I was delayed this morning. It was probably about a half hour.
Yeah, it was about an hour, I want to say. So I got to work about an hour late.
Yes, so then on the way home last night, there were other issues. And so these were all overhead wire issues, which New Jersey Transit will point out they don't have control of. They are run by Amtrak. But riders don't care. They just want to know they can get back and forth to work on time, not miss family events, not be late for work.
Don't know what time I'm going to get home today. Kind of just hoping for the best. And yeah, fingers crossed every time. I'm always like factoring like an extra 30 minutes almost sometimes.
Governor Mikey Sherrill releasing a statement saying that this is not tolerable anymore. As riders, some of them more understanding than others.
I think they do their best.
Really?
And it's just the way that infrastructure is set up. What are you going to do?
Yeah, she must work for New Jersey Transit. 541. Nurses at Montefiore Mount Sinai Hospital System say they have reached tentative agreements to end that month-long strike. Approximately 10,000 members at Montefiore Mount Sinai Hospital and Mount Sinai Morningside and West reached this tentative agreement over the weekend with the hospitals. Members will vote now whether to ratify these contracts and to return to work as soon as this week.
I still think we have some work to do on the agreement, but it's a step in the right direction. We all want to go back to work. There's the case of the nurses who were fired before we came on strike. That's a big issue.
So the deal keeps safe staffing rules, protects health benefits, add protections against workplace violence, includes limits on AI and a pay raise of more than 12% over 3 years. Union leaders say the agreements protect patient care and nurse safety after weeks of striking in some pretty harsh weather out there. I mean, you couldn't ask for a colder time to be on the picket line. Now, the tentative agreement applies to only 2 of the 3 hospitals involved in the strike. About 4,000 nurses at New York Presbyterian have not reached a deal. They are expected to be back on the picket line today. They say the key sticking point in the on negotiations is safe staffing with New York Presbyterian. Here were some of the nurses speaking out yesterday.
It's not shocking to me that we're holding out and going back and forth a little bit more, but I'm very happy that the nurses and the other hospitals got what they wanted.
I think we're making some progress, but we can't just ratify a contract with the pieces that are missing.
All right, so the 2 hospitals, Montefiore, Mount Sinai, waiting for the nurses to take a vote on that contract. New York Presbyterian and the Nurses Union, they will be back at the bargaining table, at least what we've heard again today. Police looking for 2 people after thieves made off with a French bulldog and about $8,000 worth of Pokemon cards in Brooklyn.
Police say 6 men broke into a home in Bushwick just before 2:30 Monday morning, demanding cash from the 2 residents inside. After assaulting one of the residents, police and sources say the men took off with the resident's dog named Coco and the Pokemon cards. The dog was later dropped off at a hospital unharmed, but a search for the cards and the alleged thieves remains ongoing.
Yeah, it's amazing how those Pokemon cards are worth a ton of money. In less than 24 hours, the Republican candidate for governor here in New York, Bruce Blakeman, swapping out one state upstate sheriff for another as his running mate. Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman offered the job to Fulton County Sheriff Richard Giardino, and that apparently caused some uproar with Republicans upstate. So by the time the day was over, Giardino had told Bruce Blakeman that he didn't think he could run because it would take too much time away from being sheriff upstate.
We talked about what the campaign would be like and how much time he would have to devote to it. We pretty much had an understanding that he would be the guy, but of course he wanted to think about it with all of his responsibilities that he has, and we came to a discussion last night where basically he said he's going to take a pass on it, and I said no problem.
So Richard Giardino, now this is not me speaking, these were upstate sources saying they thought the guy was a little off. He went to talk to a news station upstate New York to talk about why he had decided not to run alongside Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman.
I submitted paperwork to be on the ballot in New Hampshire for the Republican primary for president. I was not running against President Trump. It was totally a lark and an independent thing. My first obligation is to the people of Fulton County, so I decided that it's not right for me at this time.
Yes, so at this Republican Party convention in Garden City, Long Island, he'll announce a new candidate. And he wanted to point out, by the way, that Governor Hochul has had a lot harder time finding somebody to run with her.
Kathy Hochul is the last person that should make fun of the lieutenant governor's selection process. Think about this. Her first choice was indicted and had to resign in disgrace. And her second choice is now running against her for governor.
All right, so Bruce Blakeman and his new running mate, they'll be on with Sid at 8:30 this morning, so make sure you're tuning in then. 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Eller.
Thank you, Noah Maladen. We'll start here on the hardwood in Brooklyn. Nick Claxton scored 28 points, had 10 rebounds to lead the Nets to a 123-113 win over the Chicago Bulls. Noah Clowney added 20 points for Brooklyn, which won its second in a row. Drake Powell had 14 off the bench. Rookies Danny Wolf and Nolan Traore each had 13, and Zara Williams added 11. And that's where that leading scorer, Michael Porter Jr., is out with right knee tendonitis, and rookie guard Igor Demin, he was just resting. Up next for Brooklyn, they'll host the Indiana Pacers tomorrow night. Speaking of those Pacers, they're at the Garden tonight against our New York Knicks. That is a 7:30 p.m. tip-off there. Looking ahead to Olympic action today out in Italy as well. We're looking ahead to Canada versus the United States in women's ice hockey. USA currently leading their Group A with 9 points. Canada in second place with 6 points. They just played one less game there. That's a 2:10 p.m. puck drop later on this afternoon. And your current country medal results: Italy in the lead with 9 total medals. Japan in second with 7 total. Norway in third with 6. Switzerland in fourth with 5. Germany in fifth with 4 total. Austria in sixth place with 4 total as well there. And the United States coming in at 7th place right now with 2 total medals, both of them gold. That is your sports. Noah, man, I'm Justin Alec on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:48. Mayor Mamdani being asked why he did not show up for the installation of New York's new Archbishop Ronald Hicks on Friday. I did notice that he wasn't there. I thought that was odd at St. Patrick's Cathedral. Mamdani said he could not make the big Friday event.
I do look forward to sitting down with the Cardinal, and I'm so excited, frankly, at his leadership in this city.
It is believed, and I think this is accurate, that every mayor has been present in the past when a new archbishop has been appointed. Out on Long Island, Adelphi University student Orion Newby celebrating a victory yesterday after a court found that he did not use artificial intelligence to cheat on a paper. It was something the school accused him of. Newby was able to prove it was all his work, assisted by some school tutors, which he's allowed to have. His parents had to take this thing all the way day to court.
I felt shocked, I felt like, that was it. I felt like my life was over. I just didn't want to be known as like a plagiarist.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So what happened was he turned in one paper and they accused him, I guess, of cheating on one. And then they accused him of cheating on a second one, which would mean expulsion from Adelphi University. And that's when Orion's mother decided to hire a lawyer.
Unfortunately, it required us to go to a courtroom for him to be heard.
Yeah, so it was an Adelphi professor who used one of these apps meant to call out AI-generated writing. And Orion Newby explained that he did get help from tutors with Adelphi's program that allows him to get help from tutors. But he says that's it. Otherwise, all of this was his own work, even though he received a 0 on it from that professor. But a state Supreme Court judge reversed the disciplinary measures against Orion and ruled that the school must now expunge his record. Adelphi said in a statement yesterday that they're evaluating the court's decision. Meanwhile, Orion Newby is back on campus at Adelphi yesterday.
I don't think it was fair, and I don't think it was reasonable. Now I'm a happy boy again.
Yeah. 551. A new bill could make school buses safer in New York.
Senator Cory Booker and Representative Josh Gottheimer have introduced Miranda's Law. It's named after a 10-year-old girl who was killed in a 2018 Paramus bus crash involving a school bus driver with a suspended license.
Passing this law will not bring my daughter back. I know that. But it will give her life meaning beyond this tragedy. It will allow her legacy to be one of protection, responsibility, and care for others, exactly who she was.
Her father, Giovanni Venga, spoke in support of the legislation that would ensure every school bus has seatbelts and the driver's records are monitored. I'm Lisa Ritchie, 77 WABC News.
While we're talking school buses, New Jersey lawmakers pushing legislation to make school buses safer across the country. Senator Cory Booker, Congressman Josh Gottheimer introducing Miranda's Law, named after a 10-year-old girl who was killed in a 2018 Paramus bus crash involving a school bus driver with a suspended bus license.
Passing this law will not bring my daughter back. I know that. But it will give her life meaning beyond this tragedy. It will allow her legacy to be one of protection, responsibility, and care for others, exactly who she was.
Yeah, okay, that's more of what Lisa was talking about in that previous rap, so I'll just move on like we didn't do that. The Police Academy of the NYPD is set to be renamed in honor of a fallen detective now.
The 30-acre Queens campus will be renamed for Detective Stephen McDonald, who was shot by a robbery suspect in Central Park in 1986, just 2 years into his NYPD career, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. He later became a national advocate for conflict resolution and publicly forgave his shooter. McDonald died in 2017. Commissioner Jessica Tisch said he exemplified what an NYPD officer should be. The renaming will be complete by July 16th, marking 42 years since he joined the academy.
Good job done there by the NYPD doing that naming. 553, have you heard of a snowstorm or snow vandalism? I wasn't familiar with this, but apparently it's been happening all over the tri-state. People sick and tired of all the snow on their streets, fighting over parking spots and all kinds of vandalism that has emanated from that. Up in Rye, the police department talking about this yesterday, this recent uptick in vandalism tied to parking disputes, slashed tires, keyed cars, notes left on people's dashboards. Those are all the things the police department says they've seen an increase in following this snowstorm and this snow that just won't go away because there's fewer parking spots. People are fighting over them. Maybe in your neighborhood, people put like a lawn chair in after they dig out their spot, but people say, no, that's a public spot. They yank the chair away. All kinds of fights get underway.
Snow limits the amount of parking, especially in the apartment complexes around the city because of the tight space. You know, some people may be upset and tempers flare. We've taken several reports. I think we're up to 5 or 6 up until this point.
Yeah, so one neighbor says in Rye that her car was keyed sometime in the middle of the night, and she believes it was because of some kind of parking dispute tied to the fact that there's fewer spaces thanks to the snow. And then you have people in Rye say, you know, just why are people being so stupid?
Mind your neighbors, be nice to each other. The world's in an uproar the way it is, and you have to scratch and
and blow tires out? Come on now, grow up.
Yeah, and we're getting similar reports from police departments in New Jersey and on Long Island as well. 5:54, supporters of the casino in Asbury Park rallying in the bitter cold this weekend to save the landmark in the face of planned development, even though the developer had said the day before it would preserve the casino.
On Saturday, nearly 100 people stood in front of the casino to call for a commitment from developer Madison Marquette to save the nearly 100-year-old casino. NJ.com was there.
Preserve Asbury Park because we don't want Pier Village South. Thank you very much.
And I think it's pretty clear that this is not the town that this kind of crap is going to fly in.
The company has applied for a permit to demolish the building. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
And we'll end this hour up in Connecticut, where a dad could not believe when his 4-year-old daughter received a jury duty notice. The dreaded jury notice arrived last week with a stern reminder that this is a summons, not an invitation. Dr. Omar Ibrahimi, who's from Darien, assumed this note was for him when he opened it up.
Actually breathed a sigh of relief when I saw it wasn't my name on it. And then it took me a second. I'm like, wait a minute, why is my daughter's name on this jury summons?
Yeah, so she's in preschool, and she had a reporting date of jury duty on April 15th, and he was scratching his head, how did she end up on this jury duty notice? He tried to explain to his daughter what this was all about.
She's like, what's that? And I'm like, it's where you listen and you decide if someone's guilty or not guilty. And she goes, I'm just a baby.
And she is. The judicial branch uses the information from DMV, voter records, the Labor Department, and Revenue Services to send out those notices. And nobody could figure out why this 4-year-old got one. So Ibrahimi went online to get her off the hook over the weekend.
I took it with a little bit of humor, and I sent over my wife a text, and I said, hey, looks like Zara's getting summoned to jury duty. There was a free text box, so I put in, I haven't even completed preschool yet. Please excuse me.
Yes. So far, we haven't figured out exactly how she was able to get a jury notice in the mail. 5:57, traffic, transit on the 7s. Here's Joe Noah.
He should have brought her to the courthouse.
He should have shown up with us.
Yeah.
That would have been very funny. Say, okay, here's Sarah. She's here.
Here she is. Oh, man.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Payne Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.